Hello and welcome back. It's been a few weeks. I've been absolutely run off my feet recently, so apologize for that. But I've been reading all your comments and replying to them when I can. And honestly, I appreciate all the things you've been saying. Genuinely, um, some of the things that you guys have been sharing is like really very interesting to me. And it helps as well to get the perspective of your different backgrounds culturally and just in terms of different family dynamics and that sort of thing that you've grown up with. And it's good to learn about each other, I think. So today, I've been thinking about, well, recently, last couple of weeks, been thinking a lot about the different archetypes, the feminine archetypes. And there are a number of videos out there about the feminine archetypes. And a lot of them I find are, I mean, they're very good, but they're also a bit narrow in the sense that it usually comes across as a kind of quiz, like, which archetype are you? I take issue with that in the sense that you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into one particular archetype. That's not really what the purpose of archetypes. The purpose of them is to take on each archetype as needed in different situations. So I wrote something here. Let me read it out before I start rambling on about something completely unrelated. I've been getting in trouble for that and also for not being mic'd up properly. So here we are. I hope this works. Oh, sorry, I just got a message. Um, Here we go. Inside every woman lives not one wild woman, but many. She is not a single archetype, not a fixed identity. She is a living constellation of instincts, a shapeshifter of soul. Think of her like a 20-sided die, many facets of the same gem, each face a different energy you can draw upon. Um, for those of you that don't play D&D, um, a 20-sided die, it's a dice, but instead of having 6 sides, it's got 20, and that's how you roll the actions that your character takes and all that sort of thing. Um, and this is very different to when I say shapeshifter. This is not the same as adapting your whole values, your um, your likes and interest, and changing those depending upon who you're with at the time. Um, that is an instability of your fundamental identity. And that can be fixed, that can be healed, that can be resolved. That's a trauma response. If you find that you pretend to like things that you don't really like in order to please someone, um, look, I'm here to judge, okay? Everyone's got their problems. But it is something that can be healed. It is a trauma response to do that. So I'm not talking about changing your values based on the situation you're in. I'm talking about changing and adapting to different circumstances. So, archetypes are not costumes we put on to become someone else. They are already within us. We embody them every day without realizing. The fierce huntress who acts quickly and protects, the gentle maiden who marvels at the world with fresh eyes, the phoenix who burns and rises anew, the siren who calls, seduces, and magnetizes, the creatrix who births ideas and art, the queen who sets her boundaries and negotiates. These archetypes are not meant to trap you into a singular persona, they're meant to free you. They give language and imagery to the instincts you already possess, helping you move more fluidly between ways of being depending on the situation. For example, during emergencies, the huntress arises. She's calm, strategic, self reliant. She makes decisions. Um, she stands up for herself. She will put people in their place when she needs to. In a theme park or walking through a forest, the maiden comes to life. She's playful, open, delighting in sensation and maintaining a childlike sense of wonder at the world. In moments of heartbreak or major life change, or the dark night of the soul that I think many of us have been through. I think I've been through a couple, to be honest. The phoenix takes the lead, shedding the old, transforming and rising again. When creating art or starting a new project, the creatrix emerges, channeling ideas and birthing new forms. When a boundary needs to be set, the queen steps in, sovereign, clear, dignified, able to negotiate. So you can get an idea of, and this is just a couple of examples. There are so many archetypes, it's literally limitless. They tend to get narrowed down just to a couple, select few, I think, for the sake of simplicity, but it's limitless. There are limitless archetypes. Sometimes we get stuck in one archetype, and this is the important thing that I think to take away from this. And this is, I think, where I differ a bit from, I think, well, where I believe this video will differ from a lot of the videos on feminine archetypes, is that I'm not encouraging you to find your archetype. It's not about having one archetype. You can get stuck in them. So, always the caretaker, that's the mother archetype. Always the lover, always the warrior. And our lives start to feel rigid. You will get stuck in a rut and might think that you need to change your job or leave a good relationship unless you have this understanding. Pardon me. This guide is about recovering your full spectrum of self, remembering that all archetypes are yours to call upon. You are not fractured, you are whole. You are not playing roles, you are accessing different facets of yourself. Each archetype is a lantern to light a different part of your path. So, I've got some journaling prompts here. I've also got, if you're interested, leather journals on my website. Um, don't buy stuff you don't need, okay? I'm not trying to get you to buy things that you don't need. Pretty much everyone is struggling financially, I think, at the moment. But this is honestly so beautiful. It doesn't come with writing in it, obviously. You've got to do your own. You've got to do your own scribbles here, okay? But the pages are beautiful. It's hand bound. Um, if you want to, go and buy one so I can buy dog food. But don't buy stuff you don't need. This works just as well. You can do these journaling prompts in your note app, on your phone, on your laptop, on the back of your overflowing stack of bills. Okay. The huntress. Her essence is independence, focus, survival instincts. She is the one who takes the bow, tracks the trail, and acts swiftly when others freeze. Her shadow aspect is hypervigilance, coldness, isolation. The lighter aspect is clarity under pressure, grounded action, and self-confidence. So, some journaling prompts to uncover the huntress within you. I've got 3 here. Where in my life am I being called to act swiftly or decisively? How can I make those decisions with more clarity? What situations trigger my inner protector? So, this could be people treating you with disrespect, people crossing your boundaries, things like that. I don't know why I'm so this morning. When have I felt most competent and self reliant? So explore that. Have a think about times when you felt the most competent, the most confident in yourself, and how can you embody that more often when you need to? And the next one is the maiden. I think the maiden honestly is, she gets such a bad, she's so heavily criticized, in my opinion. And in some ways, rightfully so, because if you get stuck in the maiden energy, you can't make decisions, you're naive, you're helpless. right? That's the shadow aspect. Um, but she is such a joy. Like she really, really is. She can make the most mundane things in your life feel like a fairy tale. Cooking, cleaning, you can walk around the house pretending you're Cinderella or Snow White or something. That's like typical maiden energy. So the maiden's essence is wonder, receptivity, playfulness. She delights in sensation and new experiences. Her shadow aspect, like I said, naivete, people pleasing, and passivity. Her light aspect, innocence, curiosity, joy, and openness. And that is such a beautiful energy to be in when it's appropriate, when you're walking through a forest, picking up sticks and collecting feathers or whatever it is that you like to do. And I think a lot of us have been uh, sort of corralled into the huntress energy, actually. That's like the boss bitch energy. We've been corralled into that as being like this idealized version of being a woman, being a modern woman. There is pushback against that. There's a lot of information out there now about femininity and becoming more feminine. But again, I find a lot of that is narrowed down to becoming the maiden, just being stuck in this maiden energy, being a subservient housewife. Not saying housewives are subservient. I'm saying that a lot of content aimed at getting back in touch with your femininity is basically teaching you to be completely passive in your life. And that's not what I'm about. So, journal prompts for the maiden. What small pleasures do I overlook in my life? A lot of this comes down to sensuality. Sensuality. And I don't mean that in a sexual way, because sensuality, it's part of sexuality, but it's not the whole deal. Sensuality is literally your senses, what you can touch, what you can see, what you can smell, what you can hear. It's walking through the forest and listening to the crunching of the leaves under your feet and smelling, taking time to stop and smell flowers on your walk. Um, it's tasting each of the ingredients individually while you're cooking a meal and really focusing in on the taste. You're not thinking about what you need to do tomorrow. You're not thinking about what happened today. You're just there in the moment, sensing everything. There's something very, very grounding about that. When do I feel most childlike or free? Where might I invite more curiosity instead of judgment? So, when you're speaking to people, when you're meeting a new person for the first time, how much time do you spend being curious about them, being curious about their perspective, their worldview, how they arrived at those perspectives, um, rather than hearing one thing about them and immediately making a judgment, immediately making an assumption, like if they're on the right or they're on the left, politically speaking, and jumping to conclusions about what kind of person you think they are. Instead, maybe they say something about the war in Ukraine, the war in Palestine, and all this sort of thing. Instead of jumping to conclusions, it's about asking questions, being curious, like, oh, so what, how did you, why is it that you believe that? And being genuine about it, being a genuine curiosity. Um, there's something really beautiful about that, and which also leads to a deeper connection with other people and a deeper understanding of them, a deeper empathy for them and their position. You can have completely opposing political opinions with someone, and I feel like this is such a big issue these days. You can have completely opposing political opinions and still not turn them into your enemy. You can just ask questions and be curious and think, well, so how did you get to that conclusion? Why is it that you believe what you believe? And then just accept them. Accept that you have different perspectives, share your own perspective, um, and then go back to talking about the weather or whatever, whatever you're talking about. The siren. Her essence is magnetism, allure, emotional resonance. She calls, draws, and beckons. She seduces. Her shadow aspect is manipulation, using allure to mask pain. That's another thing. Her lighter aspects are natural charisma, healthy sensuality. So both the maiden and the siren are very sensual, and the art of invitation. So journaling prompts for the siren. When do I feel magnetic or radiant? So this might be when you're having a hot bath. For me, this is having a hot bath. Epsom salts, Dead Sea salts. I buy them in bulk online because it's so much cheaper. Holy crap! Buy them from like those. The one I buy from is the soapery.co.uk. Not like sponsored or anything. No one's gonna sponsor a channel with 350 subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you, but yeah, definitely not sponsored. But I'm sure you can find something wherever you live, some kind of wholesale thing. But this is when I feel most magnetic and radiant, having a hot bath. I've got Epsom salts, Dead Sea salts. I've put some oil in the bath, some lavender essential oil, put some candles on. That's just my thing. That's what I like. I do that maybe once a week or something. Where am I afraid to express my sensuality? That was a big thing for me to learn. I grew up with a lot of, I guess, what you would probably call religious trauma. I was not allowed to be sensual in any way. I wasn't allowed to express any of these things uh, for reasons that I won't go into right now. But there was a lot of SLUT shaming, even though I'd never even kissed a boy. Anyway, the creatrix, her essence is birth, artistry, innovation. She weaves ideas into form. Her shadow aspect, perfectionism, something I struggle with a lot, burnout, fear of exposure, all things that I struggle with. Her lighter aspects, flow, expression, and turning beauty into chaos. Turning chaos into beauty. Journaling prompts for the creatrix. What creative project is stirring inside me right now? There will be something. And you might not think, oh, I'm not a creative person. That's not true. Literally anyone can create stuff, right? It doesn't have to be good. The purpose of it is not to be for it to be admired by others. Your paintings are very likely not going to end up in a museum. Your clothes that you sew are not going to be worn at the Met Gala. That's fine. It's not the purpose of creation. The purpose of creation is just to create, to put that energy into something. So if you've been wanting to learn, I mean, we're coming into winter up this side of the planet. You maybe wanted to learn to knit or crochet or something. Um, maybe you want to, if you're in the southern hemisphere, maybe you want to get into gardening. That's a form of creation, helping life flourish in your garden. Even if you don't have a big garden, pots on the windowsill, that's all you need. So, what kind of creative projects have been stirring in you, but you've been holding back on it because for whatever reason you're worried it's not going to be good enough? Um, that's a big thing that holds us back from creating. We tell ourselves, I'm not a creative person. And we tell ourselves, well, it won't be any good. Oh, I'll just be wasting the materials. That's not the point. The point is to engage with that part of yourself that wants to create. The end result is not the goal, it's the journey. How does my creativity want to express itself physically? So this could be dancing, singing. Again, it's just about going through the process of creating. What would I create if no one were watching? That's when you know what you should be creating. Um, the wolf mother, she's similar to the huntress. Her essence is fierce protector, nurturer, and guide. Her shadow aspect, smothering, being overly protective, If you've got dogs or kids, not allowing them to do anything that might risk a scraped knee, or I don't know, shielding them from absolutely anything, not allowing them to deal with the consequences of their own decisions. I mean, that's how you learn, that's how you grow. Um, so her shadow aspect is smothering, martyrdom, and controlling out of fear. So overly protective. Her light aspect, protective love, boundaries, guiding without domination, nourishing others while honoring herself. So this is not overextending. This is not martyrdom. This is nourishing others and pouring from a full cup, right? How do I show fierce care for others? Where might my protection cross over into control? How can I nurture myself with the same devotion that I give to others? So before we go on to the mystic, I also have some other journaling prompts. Awakening the Wild Woman. It's a PDF on my website, thewolfheartwoman.com. You can download it instantly. It's like the price of a cup of coffee. So if you're interested in that, you can also get that from my website. The mystic. Her essence is intuition, dreams, and spiritual sight. The mystic could also be, she's sort of similar to the crone as well. She's very wise. Her shadow aspect is escapism and spiritual bypassing. Her lighter aspects, deep insight, attunement, and inner guidance, intuition. So, journaling prompts for the mystic: when have my dreams or intuitions guided me? I think this is something that can really help with self confidence, is writing this stuff down. Like I said, you can do it in your notes app, you can do it in a nice journal. When have my dreams or intuitions guided me? When you write these things down, you start to form a collection of times when your intuition has been spot on. It's so easy to deny and repress and doubt our intuition because that's what a lot of us were taught to do. When you write it down, you've got data, right? You can't really question that because you've got all these times when you felt an intuition about a situation and your intuition ended up being right. Or alternatively, you write things down and you think, oh, I thought that was my intuition, but it was actually my anxiety, screaming at me. There's that old saying, intuition whispers, anxiety screams, something like that. So it's that quiet, still inner voice, this whispering at the back of your mind, either saying, this is a really good idea, this is a really good person, like spend more time with them. Anxiety screams, it's the panic, it's the fright, it's the anxiety. So, learning to discern between anxiety and intuition is so important, and journaling is a great way to do that. Where do I ignore my inner knowing? What helps me feel connected to something larger than myself? I'm going to do another video on the importance of rituals, and it's going to be based in science. I'm a very scientifically minded person. I majored in biology. Um, I'm not, I'm a very spiritual person as well, but I'm not so open minded that my brain fell out. Um, I like to stay grounded in the laws of physics and all that sort of thing. Um, but that said, there is something to be said for ritual. Our brains are wired for rituals. Um, I'm not going to go into the details of that. I will do another video. I can feel myself getting off track and about to start on a different topic. So let's wind it back in and stay on topic. Otherwise, I'm going to get in trouble in the comments again. Right. The Forest Witch. Her essence is earth based wisdom, herbs, cycles, seasons. Her shadow aspect, isolation, cynicism, and using her knowledge to wound. Her lighter aspects are healing, groundedness, and cyclical living. Cyclical living is particularly important for us as women. Now, if you're a man watching this, you're absolutely welcome to be here. Okay. Don't listen to anyone that might be in the comments saying, all men are. Blah, blah, blah. We don't like them. Okay. You're more than welcome to be here. But cyclical living, and this might interest you, even if you're a man, is particularly important for us because obviously we have our seasons, do we not? Um, and a lot of that, I mean, there's part of the woman's cycle is physical, and part of it is emotional as well. In terms of the way that we perceive things varies throughout the month. Our levels of energy and strength vary throughout the month, and that's just hormones, and that's completely normal for us. But we live in a world that is based on the 24-hour testosterone cycle of men. And there are historical reasons for that. And I'm not about to sit here and start going on about patriarchy, patriarchy. Sure. Okay. You want to talk about patriarchy? Go for it. It's not something I spend a lot of time thinking about. Um, I mean, there's things you can say about patriarchy. Sure. Does it exist? Yeah. Okay. Is it? I'm about to get off topic. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Um, but my point is that our lives, our modern lives, are do center on that 24-hour testosterone cycle. If you're a man watching this, your hormones go through a cycle every 24 hours. Your testosterone is highest in the morning, it's lowest in the evening. Whereas our hormonal cycle obviously stretches over about 30 days, give or take. So, cyclical living is a really important thing for us as women to adapt into our lives as much as possible in this modern world. Journal prompts for the Forest Witch. How do the seasons affect me emotionally? Which plants, scents, or natural places feel like allies? Where could I invite more earth based practices into my life? How do the seasons affect me emotionally? That's a big one for everyone, man or woman. A lot of people, especially coming into autumn as we are, a lot of people deal with seasonal affective disorder, seasonal depression, that sort of thing. Um, I actually go through that in summer. I know that's insane, but I'm just really affected by the heat and humidity and lots of sunlight. I get a lot of migraines, headaches. It's horrible. I hate the summer. That's why I moved to the UK. So, but you probably, if you're a normal person, you probably go through that in wintertime. So, how do the seasons affect you? And how can you help yourself through that? Um, for a lot of people, there's this practice in, I believe it's in the Scandinavian countries, and they really have some really dark, long nights in the winter, obviously, because they're so far north. And how they deal with that is to really make their home space so cozy. Um, hot chocolates, having hot chocolate together with your friends, having candles everywhere rather than just one big bright overhead light. They have little pockets of light, a table lamp, candles, fairy lights. It really, these little changes that you can make really do impact your mood and impact your feeling of coziness throughout the winter. So think about cozy activities you can do. And this can come back to the creatrix, creating things, knitting by the fire if you have a fire, um, putting on a video of a fire on your laptop if you're not lucky enough to have a fireplace. Little things like that can make the difference. So think about how the weather and the seasons affect you. And also throughout the month, if you're a woman, think about how you can nurture yourself during that time, and how you can use that massive burst of energy that you have when you're going through the follicular phase. Think about how you can use that to your advantage rather than feeling like there's something wrong with you because your cycle doesn't match up with the 24-hour testosterone cycle, because of course it doesn't. And is it fair? No, it's not fair, but it's the way it is right now. So deal with it, basically. Do what you can to make the best of it. Use it to your advantage. The queen, her essence is sovereignty, discernment, and healthy boundaries. Her shadow aspect is rigidity, entitlement, and cold detachment. Her lighter aspects are authority tempered with compassion, self respect, and clarity. Journal prompts for the Queen. Where am I called to set a boundary or make a decree? Imagine yourself sitting on a throne when you need to set boundaries. How does it feel in my body when I am sovereign over my own life? So, this is when you need to disengage from the maiden, is when you need to make decisions, when you need to think about boundaries, um, and really think about what it means to be sovereign over your own life. Instead of drifting on the tides of other people's preferences and other people's decisions, um, think about your own sovereignty. Think about how you can embody a more queenly essence in different aspects of your life, in relationships, at work, out on the street when someone catcalls you. What would a queen do? She wouldn't react. She wouldn't start screaming at someone. She wouldn't be offended because someone catcalled her. What would she do? If she had no interest in that person catcalling her, what would a queen do? She just keeps walking. Why would she engage with disrespect? So, this is how you become extraordinarily unbothered instead of being offended by everything all the time. What throne am I meant to claim in my life right now? That's another good one. The phoenix, the essence of the phoenix is, of course, death, rebirth, and transformation. She burns what no longer serves and rises anew. Her shadow aspect is self destruction and addiction to crisis. That's something I used to really struggle with a lot. This addiction to drama, addiction to crisis. I would literally avoid people that brought peace into my life because it was such a foreign concept to me. I didn't know what to do with it. So now I know. Now I'm the opposite. Like when I see lots of drama surrounding someone constantly, I'm like, ugh, okay. I mean, I can have compassion for them and at the same time make very little time for them. It's just the way it has to be. So, her lighter aspects: courageous release, renewal, and resilience. Really important things for the times we're living through right now, my God. Her journal prompts: what is ready to be released in my life? What aspects of yourself can you let go? What aspects of yourself are holding you back? How have I transformed after past endings? What ashes am I rising from right now? I think the phoenix is so important if you're going through a dark night of the soul or mental breakdown or breakup or you've lost your job or whatever it is that you're going through right now. It can be the phoenix, it can be a lion, it can be a wolf, it doesn't matter. Whatever you relate to. I remember, I'm sure most of you have seen The Lion King, not the recent live action. It's not even live action. They're not real lions. What? Let's not get started. Let's not go there. The original Lion King. I'm sure you've seen that. But I read the book as well, like the Disney. Do you remember those little? Oh God, what were they? They had the little golden spine. Those little hardcover books. I can't remember what they were called. It was golden something. Anyway, and there was this one line. God, I must have been like 9 or 10 or something, reading this little book. And there's this one line in there where Scar has just pushed Simba over the cliff, and Simba's clinging on for dear life right at the end. And he's holding onto the cliff edge. And there's this line in the book that's not in the movie. And it says, Simba felt the strength of 10 lions surge through him, and he pulled himself back up off the cliff. I'm literally, this is so lame or something, but I literally have goosebumps thinking about that. Like, just went down my whole legs. He felt the strength of 10 lions surge through him, and he pulled himself back up. Anytime I've been through like some real in this shit, that's what I think about. I think about Simba. I think about, I mean, I resonate obviously most strongly with wolves, but I think about Simba. I think about the phoenix rising again from the ashes. Um, if you make, I've talked about this in other videos, if you make the sort of the downtrodden underdog victim too much of your identity, you can get stuck in that. And you can just think, well, I'm just not strong enough. I'm just not the kind of person who can rise again. I'm just not smart enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm not whatever it is that you need to be to claw your way back up out of the hole that's been dug, either by you or by someone else, or a combination of the two. It's usually a combination of the two. Partly self destruction and partly other people's projections and mistreatment and all the rest. That's what I think about. I think about the phoenix. I'm like, I'm burning right now, and then I'll rise again, and I'll be even stronger next time. And that's what happens because that's what I believe will happen. Number 10. I haven't been listing the numbers until now, have I? Yeah. Number 10, the bone gatherer. And this is what my PDF of the journal prompts is about primarily. It's like the bone gathering. Um, the bone gatherer, her essence is recovery of the lost self. So, what it means by bone gathering is picking up the pieces, pardon me, picking up the pieces of yourself that have been lost along the way, pieces of you that were punished out of you in childhood, pieces of you that have been rejected, gathering those bones and creating something new and bringing them back to yourself. So her essence is recovery of the lost self, piecing together forgotten parts. Her shadow aspect is dwelling on old wounds without moving forward. Her lighter aspects are healing, integration, and reclaiming. Her journal prompts are: which forgotten parts of myself am I ready to reclaim? How can I honor past experiences without being trapped by them? What does wholeness mean to me right now? So, that's the end of the video. Thank you for making it to the end. My God, nearly 40 minutes. I better turn this off before I run out of storage on my phone. If you're not subscribed already, you know how to do that. Please, please, please subscribe. I want to get these watch hours, okay? Bye.